Hello, everyone. You're listening to the Art of Reinvention podcast show. This show focuses on helping you become the best version of yourself by producing thought-provoking and life-changing content. Here's your host, Teflon John.
Yeah, so that was a great conversation, man. So let's talk about businesses and being in that MLM. I'm pretty sure you may have experienced, but sometimes I just felt like, the only time I was talking to someone when it was about the business,
Right.
And I know sometimes even supporting businesses, sometimes you only hear from people when it's about their business. So what is your experience? What is your thoughts? What are your thoughts on that?
I would say be genuine. Like, if you, as a person who's trying to sell, if you're only reaching out to people when you're trying to make a sale, that's a problem. You need to check yourself on that aspect of how you sell, right? Mm-hmm. You should be genuinely trying to make connections with people that they want to come back, right? So a reason why I shop mostly local is because of the experience, right? Me and Tremaine Edwards, he works at the Academy downtown, and he says a lot of people do not understand there's a difference between customer service and customer experience. And one thing that I continue to receive when I go to the Academy and buy tickets is that, one, they give me an experience where when I call, tell them who I am, they're like, "Oh, Charese, we're so glad that you're thinking about buying another ticket," because he can easily see they have my email information. And even if I've never been to a show, if they knew that they had my information, they know at least I'm interested enough to get the information that they send out when they do email blasts and things of those natures, So taking your customer service a step ahead, like, can set you apart in a way that will not only maintain the people who patronize you now, but will give a good word out to the community in other aspects. One way that in my business model is I just don't do marketing. I have never paid for marketing. Again, I use social media, so that's free. But a lot of my business, actually all of my business, are referrals. Someone said, "Hey, someone told me you do taxes. Hey, someone told me you do bookkeeping," or "I saw you somewhere," and I'm so grateful, right? So to think that I don't have to use a marketing strategy in my budget for my business saves me money, because a lot of people, that is where they spend most of their money at, marketing, so that they can obtain the business to maintain, that money flow. So just think of it that way. So you should be genuine and get out your feelings. Don't if someone, so I've heard, I hate this, like, your next no will get you to your yes, or the no is not no, it's a not right now.
Yeah.
Like, those verbiage, like, stop.
Man.
Stop saying it to yourself and stop letting people say that to you. It's when people say no, you need to respect that no, right?
Yep, respect it.
That's one. Show that you respect somebody, because be totally honest, it took Ashley, my upline from Mary Kay, a whole year, and she did not badger me. She did not keep asking me. She became my Mary Kay rep because I didn't have one, and we just kept that relationship. She was always genuine, and I was like, you know what? I should go on, pay the $100 and get my packet. And I did, and it's been the best relationship. Yeah. And she's in a transition right now. I won't reveal what that is because that's her business. But we still have a relationship even to this day, years later. And that's the kind of relationships you want to have with people. If someone says that they don't support you, we say we're trying to get away from that word. If someone doesn't want to buy from you, that is not personal. That is business. And you changing it to make it personal and making it a vendetta so that you can post on Facebook about it is wrong. There's no gray area for me in that. That is wrong. Putting your emotions on why people don't support you, do something for you. That steps over all kind of boundaries, and that will most definitely negate our friendship in some kind of way if you do stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think that it's not anybody's responsibility to support you. That's like, here, I'm here, you come in, I'm setting up everything by myself, so I can't get an attitude because someone doesn't want to come help me. This is a mental and spiritual contract that I bonded myself to when I wanted to do this. But I think the problem is that people always look out the window instead of looking in the mirror. It's a reason why, I can look out the window. It's easy just to point at something. But if I look in the mirror, the only person I can point to is myself. And so if you're always losing customers, if customers are not coming to you, just take that month or whatever, or like you said, quarterly, or however you do yours, and just do an evaluation. What am I doing? Because most times I know some businesses aren't supported because they're not up to date with taking money.
Right.
You know, so we live in a cashless society now.
Right.
So some people refuse to get Cash App, PayPal, or some type of merchant service to actually support their customers. So I know a lot of customers, they just, hey, man, I can't come because that's not how I spend money.
Right.
And so you see where I know some businesses that I know just refuse to change anything, refuse to compensate, you know, the customers, and they make it all about them. And then what happens is, I think, like you said, they make it personal, and they post this up. No one supported me, but why? You know what I'm saying? Really take that deep dive and figure out why. Because to me, I'm not going to just support your business because of your race or something. I support your business because, like you said, customer service. Like when I buy my sound equipment, usually I go to the same company. Because why? During the COVID, when I don't buy anything, they don't just send me these emails about this new product. They send me informational emails to keep that relationship, how to use the product, you know, how are you doing, you know, we haven't heard from you in a while, but here's this free literature on how to improve your sound. And so I think what happens is most people, they're asking too much and they're not giving. You're like, what type of value are you giving? Right. You know what I mean? And you know, you see it time and time again. You're like, you go into business, everybody's short, rude attitude. You're wearing your emotions from this morning on your sleeves. A customer shouldn't have to deal with that. And especially now, where people are really holding on to their money and they're really choosing wisely where they're spending it, or they're being, you know, having certain preferences. I think that, like you said, their customer experience should be. So if you come into the talk show here and you're having a bad experience, it wouldn't be the second interview. You know what I'm saying? Well, I hope it's right. But, you know, it's just one of those things where I think when people come to your tax service, the reason why they're doing the word of mouth is because you give them good experience, good customer service. You're probably educating them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so this is stuff that doesn't come with it's more value than what you're charging them. Right. And some people can't see that. So what is the importance of, do you think, of someone adding more value than what they charge? Oh, for sure. It's like the saying I've heard it multiple times. This is nothing new, my saying, but you know, you under promise and over deliver, right? So, you know, one thing that some clients, especially business clients, I kind of give them a peep of what a tax planning session would look like. So, you know, do their taxes and I say, hey, I see that you could have written off XYZ. I give them a list of things that they can write off within their business, within the structure that they have, and say, hey, you might want to implement these things. Now, that's all I'm gonna give you, right? Because the thought process is, if I gave good customer experience, you'll say, hey, can I book a session with you so we can sit down and actually make a plan about what this looks like, and maybe what kind of system can I use? Because a lot of people are like, oh, I use Excel, or I use nothing at all. I still have a couple clients like that, and we have conversations about that as well. But yeah, we move into those kind of spaces. Or I see a client who, you know, they end up owing taxes. We're like, how can we better do that? I'm like, well, I see you have a kid. You might want to invest in a 529 account, which is basically an account like a 401, but it's specifically for higher education. So you can be putting money away tax-free to use for your child when they go to college, or if they go to some kind of institution or something like that. So, you know, we have those kind of thought process. Or do you match your 401, right? Because then the other thought process, I have a client this year, her and her husband are looking to buy another home, and they are going to rent the home that they currently purchase. So I was like, well, I think that you should dump more money to your 401, because then it will lower your taxable liability for the tax purposes. But you can borrow. There are six different reasons you can borrow from your 401 and not pay the 20% penalties. And using that money as a down payment for a home is one of those reasons. And that's how I got my house. Can you say that again? I don't think people knew that. Can you say it one more time? There are 6 different reasons you can take money from your 401 and not pay the penalty, and using it to put a down payment for a house, or your house is going into foreclosure, you're paying hospital bills, and there's some other reasons. Make sure I'm gonna give y'all homework. I ain't gonna give it all to you. Do your homework, see what kind of 401 you have, and you can borrow that money and not have to pay the 20% early penalty for taking that money out of that account. Wow. Yeah. And that's something I think a lot of people don't know. And that's why I love your platform, because I remember when you first started your podcast, I'm like, yo, she giving the game away, because you can really charge for that. But I think that, you know, I've had people, you know, I've tried to get on the show and they're like, hey, look, man, I charge for my information. But I'm looking at you as far as this right here, this video.
No, that's what Google's for. But I know that everybody can go Google everything. I'm more than happy to do that because that's my business model. Mm-hmm. Because real talk, we could talk. Okay, let's look. I'm gonna tell y'all something else. Look, there's a thing called a loss leader. I feel like I've been using this word like every week. So a loss leader is when a business offers something at a lower market value in hopes that you will buy something else. So a grocery store typically would do, we'll give you eggs for free. We know eggs are not free, but as long as you buy cheese and milk. Well, cheese and milk, they're a little pricey, right? And they always have a certain, you have to buy the name brand, right? They're not gonna let you buy the off brand. So they're giving you the eggs for free, but you're buying the milk and cheese. And I would bet you that it's probably a little bit more expensive than it typically would be, probably to offset those eggs that they're giving for free. Because if you went on another day, they would be a lower price. But since you're at the grocery store, we might as well go ahead and get some bread. We might as well get some orange juice. We might get some bacon, some other things. So now they have lured you in on this loss leader that costs less than what you normally pay, in hopes that you spend, because we are consumers at the death of us, right? So my loss leaders so don't get it twisted, right? My business model is the loss leaders that I give you free product makes me money. I make money when you listen to my podcast. I make money once I get up to enough YouTube viewers, I will be making money. So I can give information free because I'm still making money, but I made it in a way where it doesn't affect the consumer. Now, if you want a one-on-one session, you go pay for that because you're paying for my time and me physically being there and walking you through the steps. And some people do that. But loss leaders in my business model still help me on a monetized level where I don't mind giving you this information. Mm-hmm. I want to give you the information to, again, it adds value. We always talk about adding value. And you're like, oh, I might want to talk to this girl, Charese. Yeah. And you come in and we have a conversation, and then long story short, I become your bookkeeper. And then that is the long-term goal, right? So yeah, that's what that looks like. Yeah,
and I think what it does too is it qualifies you as the expert, because I think if you go back maybe 12 years ago, before social media was really jumping, before you could really, before YouTube was like a giant, you would just see someone's picture maybe in the newspaper, or you would see a name in the yellow pages, and you didn't know if they were qualified. You didn't know how good they were. But I think doing content, putting out free content, it allows you to not only develop a relationship with this person, but it allows you to really hear their expertise. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, you have content where you're breaking it down to the point, like just now, to where that one nugget, people are like, wow, if I book a session with her, what else? If I paid her, this is the free content. You know what I'm saying? If I paid her, what else could I get?
Because this is the other part. I hate, H-A-T, I know that's a very strong word. I hate when people give people surface level information. That's basically what social media is. People use trigger words, generational wealth, your next nose, and all the things, right, to lure you in. But I had an argument with the man the other day. He was saying words. I said, you're saying words, but not making any sense. They are saying a lot of things, and they kind of they lure you in. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I'm like, oh, that's real good. But I'll be like, but how do you do that?
Exactly.
But what's the steps? You saying good stuff, like generational wealth, blah, 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 blah. And I'll be like, I'm so lost. I feel like you said something good, but I don't know what I took away from it.
Yeah, because I know, and I know when the whole George Floyd thing happened and just the coronavirus, I really had to look at my brand. And then I started to notice, and I came across a video about how toxic the self-help industry could be. Then I started realizing, man, is this really what my message is going to be? You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to only be motivational, but I want to be informational and educational to really bring on people like you, and then me giving out information on not only what to do. Everybody knows what they have to do. I know I need to get in shape. I know I need to lose weight. I know I need to stop doing whatever. But how do you do that? Do it effectively. Right. And I think the whole niche, hook, line, and sinker is I'm going to give you just enough bait for you to bite the hook. Right. And then I think it's getting all these coaching clients, and then you want to get in this big Zoom chat, and I'm paying you once a month, and then we do this once a week. And some stuff may work. Some stuff may work. But I think we're just in that realm where a lot of people are being taken advantage of, and they're not really getting the attention to detail that they need for their personal situation. And going back to what you said, they're becoming consumers of the content. It was a point where I consumed so much motivational content on the way to work, while I was at work, on break, when I come home. So where the point is, I wasn't doing anything with it.
Right.
It's like just having a room full of stuff.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it was.
I'm guilty of it. I've done bought a whole bunch of marketing, how to start on your LinkedIn, how to do Canva, how to do Planoly. Yeah, I done did it too.
And that light bulb went off because I remember it was to the effect to where it was like, like, what are you going to do with this? You know what I'm saying? It was like me having eczema and the doctor gives me cream.
Right.
Hey, John, you got to use this once, twice a day.
Right.
Stay out the sun. Then I go back to him 3 months later and my breakouts are worse. He's like, have you used the cream? Nah. But I got 6 tubes. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, man. Yes.
Yeah,
man. Yeah, okay.
And it just became this thing where I had to dial back watching these videos and really pick one thing out. Okay, let me apply this.
Right.
All right. Then once that's applied, okay, what do I really need to work on? And let me consume content that's really specific to procrastination or whatever. But I think sometimes that it becomes this vicious cycle of consuming, where it really paralyzes you. And now you're just falling in love with this, receiving all this information and being overloaded to where it really paralyzes you and stagnates that process of where to go next.
Right.
So I guess we're in the last stretch of the interview. I'm just kind of thinking about what else could we talk about. You know what I'm saying? I think we've talked about a great deal of information before we get into where they can find you and all that good stuff. I would like to say, okay, let's leave. But what do you want the audience to know? Like, what do you think is crucial for them to know at this point? Pandemic. You know what I'm saying? Bad, tense time in our nation. This is election year. Like, what do you think is crucial for them to know from Charese Chambers?
I feel like this is maybe counterproductive to what I just said, but fend for yourself, right? No one is coming to save you. I mean, as an entrepreneur, like, as much as I think, and that kind of ties in with the, not expecting your family to buy from you and all the other things we kind of said without saying. But, no one's looking out for you but you. So at the end of the day, you need to make sure that you have created your nest eggs and the things that's going to sustain you long term. Always be focused on what your goals are, not goals that people place upon you. And something that I do is I compartmentalize people. There are some people that I go out to eat with. There are some people I go to church with. There are some people who I talk business with. There are some people who I just work out with. And some of these people are in multiple lanes in these compartments, and some of them are just in one, right? I don't think that you need to cut off people because they don't support your business. They still might be a good person to go to the movies with, right? And you can cultivate a friendship and relationship that's genuine in that space. So don't think that just because someone doesn't do something in one lane that they can't do it in another, because that also shows what kind of person you are. If you're so easily to cut someone off because they don't do something that you expect of them, all they do is they're showing you who they are. Now you need to reassess and how you can communicate with that person and be in a genuine relationship with that person. So, doing that. Most definitely COVID has, showed up and shown people where they're lacking, and if you haven't learned a new skill, if you haven't done, something, don't feel bad about that. If you have, good for you. Cultivate that. Also, if you're a new business, it takes time. I've been doing taxes, like I said, since 2006. I think now people know who I am, and we're in 2020, right? So that's 14 years of doing work. My intentions was never to be here, even though I'm grateful to be here, but it takes work, it takes the consistency, the showing up and all the things, right? So, doing it for yourself, being authentic to yourself, and, things will fall in line the way that they need to.
Okay, one more thing, because I know you, like you said, 14 years growing a business. If you can just let people know, just give them the honest outlook, because you have a lot of people that go to Instagram, Facebook, they go to YouTube, and there's people taking pictures in front of Lamborghinis or whatnot, and they make it seem like you can just join the program, and then 6 months later, you're 1,000. I wouldn't say millionaire, but you're 1,000.
Lies.
So could you just express, you know what I'm saying, and emphasize the importance of understanding that the hustle, the grind is not as beautiful and quick as people make it seem to be?
Listen to me carefully. I almost lost my home. I am a financial coach in trying to conduct a business with people giving me IOUs to pay me instead of giving me my coins. Business is hard. That's the point blank in the period. Yeah, there's nothing else to say about that. That is, they lived in, I mean, I think, I was like, I don't want my struggle story to be like Steve Harvey. Like, he was like, I lived in my car. Like, if you ever go back, their entrepreneurs have a story where they, whatever their rock bottom is. My rock bottom was almost losing my house because I just got behind on the mortgage bill because I was waiting for people to pay me. I was undercharging. You know, I didn't have my prices right and all the other things. Clients not pay me at all. So it's a multitude of things. Cash flow is most definitely a big part of running a business. And if you don't get that handled or you don't understand the concept of that, then, you know, that could be a downfall of your business. So, you know, having the right expectations. I mean, I went back to, I left my job for a whole year. Was okay learning entrepreneurship because when you take that dive before you go full time, you're like, okay, I'll quit my job. I can work for myself. Yes. Then I went back and got a job cleaning bathrooms in the Appomattox courthouse to pay my bills. I am not above readjusting. That's the other part. Like, humble yourself. If you need to readjust, then do it. Or, you know, live in your car. I mean, let's be honest. Like, those are the things that you have to take in consideration when you with big sacrifice comes big rewards. I'm here now, right? I'm on the other side of it. I can talk about it. But in that moment, that L didn't feel too hot in that moment. But, you know, it was humbling. I only had to clean the bathrooms for 4 months, but, you know, it is what it is.
You had to do what you had to do.
Exactly.
You know, I watched an interview with Mike Tyson yesterday. You know, he's fighting Roy Jones Jr. I think September. Okay. September. So he said something that's very powerful, and they were kind of talking like down, like he looks good for his age, moving good, but they were still trying to bring up the society. You're too old, this and that. And he was just saying, look, man, like, you know, I'm meant to be confident. He said, humans weren't made to be humble. We were made to be humbled. Like, something has to come in your life and experience in order to humble you. So he was saying, you know, how everyone brings up his past, but he said that had to happen. And I think with what you went through, and you're noticing like a consistent thing with all these entrepreneurs, it gives you a different perspective on business. And now you can really grind and go after it in a different light because you know what it's like to go backwards, and you're not beneath that. Like you said, if you had to do it, you just drop down and do it. But I think we live in a superficial world now where so many people are, you know, they're really participating and just saying, oh, I went after it because, like, if I'm on YouTube and it's like the little ad comes in, it's like, hey, I'm in front of my Lamborghini.
Oh my gosh, I hate those ads.
Yeah, I'm in front of my car, and you got a lot of young people that are gravitating towards this. And it's some adults, because you'll like, and everybody knows that one person every other week they're doing something different. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, where's the longevity? Where's the sticking to the process? Where's the patience? You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with working your 9 to 5 while you do your business until it takes off. So I tell people that's another stream of revenue if you can do both. And if you have a family, but I think you have to let go of people's opinions because those people are not even in the entrepreneur industry. They're not doing anything. So somebody telling you that, you know, you're a bum for working your job or your business hasn't, you gotta be free. You gotta be a free thinker and a free-minded person. You can't be in the box of, I'm not going to make decision A because they're going to think. Who are they? Right. Most of these people wouldn't care if you didn't wake up tomorrow, because they're going to continue living their life. You know what I mean? Like the whole, like, when people talk about Will and Jada and August Alsina, like, it doesn't affect me. I still have to go to work and do everything. So I think when we fall into that trap of being a prisoner of opinions, and most of these opinions are usernames. You don't even know the real person. It's not even a profile picture. Or someone in your family that's talking down to your friend. If they're not in the same industry that you're in, why would you listen to them?
Right.
You know what I mean? So this has been a great interview, Charese. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I appreciate it.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure all the followers, I'm pretty sure you'll gain new ones. I really like that. But could you give all your platforms,
Okay.
website information,
Okay.
email or whatever you use? I'll make sure I put it up
Okay.
in the text, but how they can find you.
All right. So this is going to direct you to all the places where I'm at. You can go to my website because I own it, right?
Your website.
Financialfancy.com. No chasers. Financialfancy.com. It'll lead you to the podcast. Podcast is Financial Fancy Podcast, and it's on all streaming sites, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the things. Also, Business After Dark is also available on all streaming platforms. I'm on Instagram, Financial Fancy. Now that has an LLC in it. Then personal is Charese Chambers, just my name if you want to just see what I'm doing day to day. I'm also on LinkedIn, named Charese Chambers. And then I'm on Pinterest, Financial Fancy. And then Alignable if you happen to be on the Financial Fancy. So, yep, that's where I'm at.
Okay. Well, like I said, it's been a pleasure. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure, and I hope it won't be your last time.
Yeah. Oh, no,
I'm pretty sure, you know, with the position that you hold, you're like the Teflon John Brand's financial guru.
Oh,
you know, we'll get you on. Hopefully one day to be on stage in the set.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We could like do the Oprah thing, like, you know what I'm saying? You'd be my Dr. Phil.
Okay, yes.
But yeah, I appreciate it. And what you do, I think, is underappreciated because we, like I said, we live in a time now where people are just now starting to see, and that's why I'm thankful for the whole COVID thing. Not people are dying, getting sick, but for the point that it exposed a lot. You know, when you're thinking about shutting down for weeks or months, and people are really looking at their bank account, not realize like, hey man, this stuff that people have been talking about for years is really coming to fruition now. Like, people are thinking about emergency funds and things of that nature. And, you know, join the podcast, you know, follow her podcast, leave her a review. It really helps us out.
Oh, yes.
And so drop a review. But not only that, like, go back to episode 1, because I'm telling you, like, when I started, you can just build, take notes, you know what I'm saying? And you can actually build a foundational education of finances, you know, especially if you're starting a business. I'm pretty sure she dropped a lot of jewels that I was in my mind writing some notes down. You know what I mean? So, yeah, so like I said, we just have to appreciate the people that we have in our community that are really going after it. Could you briefly tell about that award you got? For the Lynchburg Alliance Award?
I got the Young Professional to Watch of 2020 with the Lynchburg Business Regional Alliance. I'm very happy to get that. And I got Millennial on the Move in 2019. So, I mean, I'm doing something. So I must be doing something. So, yeah.
And a lot of times, you know, I just want to tell people that sometimes doing what we do, whether it's social media, whether it's influence or business, sometimes you feel like it's just you. Like, I'm in here setting up by myself, but you don't know who's watching.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, when I received my award, it was over people in Australia, the UK, Germany, and the United States. And, like, I had no idea that these people were watching what I was doing. So just continue. Like, if you chop at that tree long enough, it will fall. But if you don't like chopping trees, that's a different podcast.
Right. Yeah, that's a different podcast. So yeah,
fall in love with chopping trees. So, but yeah, I appreciate you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I appreciate everything. Yes. So as I always say, one love, be blessed.